I just got through checking on YouTube the last Mr. Boss for the Win video, and it's mostly like things pertaining to the GTA 6 that's coming out, and then there's like, it's like a reveals and stuff and over again. And it's gonna be great when it comes out. But man, I'm just over it. I'm over how long they held that carrot in front of us. We used to get like a game, a full hard disk game, and then we would get like we'd get a like a two DLCs right after it, and it was great. It was great. And then until the last GTA 5, when they made Grand Theft Online. And then when they made Grand Theft Online, along come the shark cards. And so they actually fired the guy who got them there, the lead director or whatever it's called, that got them to where they got to the big money shovel of shark cards in GTA Online. They fired that dude, and the guy you see now is that guy with that spray tan and the bleached teeth. So that ain't cool, man. That ain't cool. And really, the truth is, they wouldn't make a new GTA Online not because it would end shark cards. It's just because it would like hurt it maybe a little bit, or maybe not at all, or they didn't even want a chance messing up their money shovel. So that's crap. That's crap. Now GTA, and I played it on GTA Online. They've gotten more there's more a lot of people who wanted like a purist game of non-futuristic things have complained about, because the MK bikes that you can fly around, they're pretty much like Green Goblin bats, but they're bikes, and people call them like the broomsticks, and like the Wicked Witch of the West. And that's what they kind of are. And there's other ones. There's like the hover bikes, and I like a lot of them. I really do. But like a lot of GTA people don't like those things, and but there's other options that these things would fit in a different large playing world. And I haven't played, like, the only MMO I ever really played and held a subscription with was DC Heroes Online and I played it for about I think 2 years, and I'm not talking about like an MMO like that, but making like a world. I'm basically saying, make another GTA Online that's like GTA Online, but use a different world. And the best world that you could possibly make a GTA Online type world, where you buy apartments, you buy vehicles. It's kind of like a green stamp store kind of thing, where you play the game so you can get cool stuff. And there's another, they can, when they made Elden Ring, I was like, when are they going to finish Skyrim? Are they ever going to finish Skyrim? Skyrim does not, and I don't mean Skyrim, I mean Elder Scrolls, the next Elder Scrolls, I think it's Elder Scrolls 8 would be the come on, I don't know for sure. But the Elder Scrolls following Skyrim, and like, oh, they're going to finish it. And then I was like, they made Elden Ring. Elden Ring isn't the same thing as like Skyrim or like Dragon's Dogma. It's harder. But it is equally as good. It is as much a masterpiece as Skyrim was whenever it first came out and then lasted for a long time. Um, ha, just well, okay. And and I have a friend who really likes Elden Ring, and then I try to tell him about how good Skyrim is, and what I tell him is Elden Ring is like those little 5-inch G.I. Joes, and Skyrim is like Mego dolls or the earlier G.I. Joe action figures, and to where like it's bigger, and then it's not loot drops. When you slay something, you can take all their clothes and whatever weapons they got, and you get that. That's what's shown. You get the whole thing. So there's like a more of a doll quality to Skyrim, and so it's not the same, but it is equally it's in the same fantasy genre, and they made something as good as Skyrim, and I didn't even think that someone could do that. And I know it's Dark Souls, and I tried to play Dark Souls, and it's just so gritty looking. I can't looking at it just, I couldn't ever get into any of Dark Souls. I never tried the Bloodborne, but I don't know. I didn't like that. But man, Elden Ring is awesome, and really deserves the accolades it gets. But it's small versus large, like say what's the Fallout, which is basically like Skyrim, where there's like a bigger figure. But what I'm saying is, when someone should make Shadowrun like GTA, and it's ridiculous for me saying it, because it's like, you can't make it. I know I can't make it, and it has to be like a big company. Now, I watched a video, Mortismal Gaming, and it's the end of it where he's adding he reviews the Shadowrun trilogy, because Shadowrun does exist as a game. It's been like it's come out like all smaller, like PC made games, and it's good. But in Mortismal Gaming, in this video, it's informed me or informed that the tabletop is Harebrained Schemes owns the no, not the tabletop, but the video game rights and the app rights, and then Tops owns the tabletop and like the role-playing game, which is the tabletop, and then Microsoft owns the ID or the brand. So it's already like a own thing. Harebrained Schemes made they kickstarted like a trilogy series, and it's a turn-based game. It's not the same as like GTA. So it's not what I'm talking about, but it looked really good. If you're into turn-based games, it looks good. It's for a PC. I'm not a PC gamer. I'm a console gamer. I like to own like a gaming PC sometime, but that's not one of my high priorities. Okay. But the reason that I'm saying that someone should make Shadowrun into the same kind of thing as GTA, but better, and not have some of the unfair practices that it uses, is the high system. And Shadowrun actually means a kind of heist that exists in that role-playing world, where you have to have like a decker, and sometimes you have to have like a sorcerer or a shaman, uh, and these various things, and then the usual mercs and the wheelman and all these different kind of characters to get these heists done. One of the best things that GTA did make, that is actually the thing that lengthened the lifespan of GTA Online for such a long period of time, is the heist system. And it's very popular. I think it's the best thing they did. I personally really like the stunt races. My favorite one is the Green Machine. I like, you know, the with the big tubes in the sky. I really enjoy those. But that's neither here or there. And there's lots. I mean, I'm not saying there ain't great things in GTA Online, like you know, the arcade. I thought the arcade was really cool, and there's lots of good things, but there's some real not good things too. Now back to Shadowrun. It's like you make a blog like this, and then you start like I've said I'm not going to do like a rant stuff. I'm not going to make rants. My main goal is to try to give out ideas and basically give out ideas instead of just complaining about what's there. And it might sound ridiculous of me saying that, yeah, someone should make Shadowrun or make GTA like a GTA version of GTA, but make it Shadowrun instead of the GTA. And that sounds like, man, why he's saying this, but who's going to do it? It could happen. There's giants among us. Because like Rockstar is a giant, but Microsoft owns the brand, and they're a much bigger giant. Harebrained Scheme is not a giant, but someone could buy Harebrained Schemes, pump a bunch of money into it, and make this. And I wouldn't be saying this if I didn't pretty much think that it would be a massive, super huge success. There's no doubt. And the heist system is really the one thing that GTA Online has made that really deserves to be emulated. Future gaming, just in general, they should be taking into account the way they did the heist system, and then trying to make something even better than that. Shadowrun is the best game to do that with. Shadowrun was a role-playing game. I think it was probably the 5th role-playing game I played. Most of the ones before were TSR. It went like Marvel, and then Dungeons and Dragons, and then we played Gamma World. I made a character for Star Frontiers, but I never played Star Frontiers. And then we played, one of my friends got lucky, and at the bookstall, he found a copy of a role-playing game, James Bond 007. And man, that was a good one too. Wish I could find that. But Shadowrun was it's made by FOSSA. This is the early 90s. The one I'm showing here is the 2nd edition. And I want to read off the people who made it, because, you know, it's good enough that you know, because there's lots of people who don't get credit for what they did. But Jordan Weissman, Bob Charrett, Paul Hume, Tom Dodd, L. Ross Babcock III, Sam Lewis, and Dave Wiley. Those are the 6 people that made Shadowrun, and so started the whole Shadowrun thing, which will eventually, I'm pretty sure, will be a big. It will either be someone will buy it and either make it a massive MMO, like World of Warcraft, or, you know, something like that, or they will do the thing make a GTA thing. And when they do this, and I'll tell you some bunch of other reasons. Shadowrun's the world where there's everything in it. I mean, there's other games that are like that, like Rifts, but it's everything's in it, and it's all kind of tied together really good on like a real ambient world. So basically, it's like Blade Runner. The world's like Blade Runner. You got Deckers, but also a thing called goblinization happened in the future, where like a whole bunch of people that didn't even know it were actually had recessive genes of being dwarves, elves, trolls, orcs, and it was called like the Great Goblinization, the reawakening of magic kicked off the goblinization. So you get those character options, and plus it has like all the tech stuff. It has like a bunch of like really cool thought out tech things, and it's got magic. And when a person makes this, I hope they make it like GTA, like they did GTA. And I mean, they'll probably make like a shark card thing. But what I really hope, I'll save that for, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a playlist. And I know I ramble on and I get on a thought train, and I don't end up where I'm supposed to go sometimes. So I get back on the train, and I'll get back to where I was at. And shoot, where was I? Man, well, maybe I don't. Okay, yeah, here, I got a notebook. Now it should be like GTA, where it should be small, like the small people like GTA. Don't try to make it like Cyberpunk, but it is like Cyberpunk. But don't try to make it like super duper graphics. Graphics should be secondary. And a lot of, I'm not saying, I mean, the graphics should be good, but you shouldn't like try to make like a Cyberpunk punk thing like that. And you want to have the figures in front of you too, for like doing heist missions and those things. But also there's a thing in Elden Ring that is, that they did that is really good, that would work quite well if they made the Shadowrun video game the way I would like them to make. So I don't think the game should be just like GTA, but it should be like GTA and a little bit like Elden Ring too, and probably a few other things. But one of the things in Elden Ring is you can make like a whole bunch of different builds. You can make like all sorts of different characters. And if you get on YouTube, you type in like Elden Ring and you type in like character builds, you will see like a bunch of different, and I really like that, character builds, and they're all like defined by like the stats and what you can get with the stats. So like say in Elden Ring, it's vigor and mind, and those are basically like your health, and then mind is basically like your mana or your power, or whatever runs your spells. And then there's endurance. Endurance is basically the encumbrance thing. It's how fast you run, I think, and then what you can carry. That's a usual thing. And then there's strength, dexterity, intelligence, faith, and arcane. And there are certain weapons that only a person with a high enough strength can use. And there's certain weapons that like you have to have this much dex and this much strength to use. There are certain weapons that you have to have a certain amount of faith to use. There's certain weapons you have to have a certain amount of arcane and a certain amount of dex, etc. Interchangeable with like that. So your stats in the game limit what weapons and spells are allotted to you. Now, what I think when they make the Shadowrun world, and they should implement this other kind of thing, but it should be something like cyberware. Well, that should have of course they should have health, and then like essence or like whatever they want to call the power that where your power bar is going to be named from. But there should be like decking, melee, firearms, and then there's sorcery in vehicles, and there should be sorcery magic, and there should be ritual magic, which is paralleling Elden Ring, because Elden Ring has faith in arcane, and so like right away it's already kind of like that. But like say you could only buy certain cyberware if you have your cyberware skill built up, and you can only have certain vehicles if you have your vehicles thing raised up a certain amount. You can only buy and use these vehicles during heists and whatnot. But like say you're a rigger, a rigger would have to have like a certain amount of cyberware, because you have to be able to jack into the vehicle, and then you have to have a certain amount of the stats of the vehicle to be able to operate the vehicle, so on and so forth. And then like decking and hacking, different things like that. And then also with the sorcery and the magic, just do the same thing they did with Elden Ring, make those stats, and then you can have a world that's like GTA Online, but then you can make an individual character builds using that thing from Elden Ring. I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to say now. Okay, I know I ramble on, but I know my ideas are good. I mean, I know they're good, and I'm sure there's other people that's thought of this idea, but I think it was worthy of mentioning. I'm going to post this. I'm going to put it in a playlist, and then as I think of more things to add to this, I'm going to just put it in the playlist. So just I know this is highly unprofessional, but the reason I'm doing this is to get the idea out, to get my ideas out that I have, and then have them basically publish dated. So it's like, well, he said this on this date. Maybe he had something to do with it. That would be cool, for this one. My next idea, I haven't talked about with anybody, and I want in on, and I'll explain that later. It's not this game; it's a whole different thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a playlist dedicated to just ideas for this, and then I'm going to add video, and so whoever is just wanting to hear this can go and go through the playlist, and things will be added on. Thank you very much, YouTube. Please excuse my high professionality, but I know my ideas are good. So have a good one.